Welcome along. Let's talk about the Premier League, because if you spent your afternoon or evening, wherever you are, depending, probably afternoon if you're in America, isn't it? If you spent it watching Rebecca Lowe, Timmy Howard, Robbie Earle, we're happy to have you with you. Kate Abdo, have you with us.
Oh, Jamie!
Wow.
Wow.
Anybody in America knows.
I'm talking what I'm saying is, so...
They do Premier League football in the States.
I know, so that's CBS's rival.
Yeah, but we're bigger than that. We're all right with that. They're friends of ours.
They pay your wages, do they?
Why do they pay my wages?
I know, so what are we giving them a big lift up for?
We're just saying hi. If you spent your afternoon... The soccer community understands if you spent your afternoon watching them. Maybe now you've switched over. Maybe now you're with us. It's Champions League. Welcome along.
I think you're looking for a transfer.
It's all one football family, isn't it?
You're looking for a you're looking for a transfer.
How did you feel about the City?
We have Rebecca.
Pardon? No, you've got me. You don't have Rebecca.
Anywho...
Who would you rather have?
What?
Oh, big decision. Rebecca Lowe.
How long have we worked together now, you and me? 2 years,
Feels like
3
about
years?
10
Yeah, but to be honest, you're not very loyal.
Oh, wow.
If I'm talking about Jamie on this one,
yeah.
When I went to the States, you act like you didn't even know me. I go to the World Cup.
Yeah.
You ghosted me.
Okay, you know what?
When it was Destination Brooklyn...
Let's go back to this, because I'm tired of this narrative. Tired of this narrative. When I was in Qatar, I met up with Mo, CBS family. Nico Cantor, CBS family. Pete Radovich, CBS family.
Okay, no.
Silvio.
What have they all...
You don't even know who's the Silvio who? Silvio who? Who's Silvio? She knows everyone from NBC. She knows everyone from NBC, but she doesn't know Silvio from CBS.
I'm blanking on his second name.
What have they all got in common?
Anyway, what they've all got in common...
They're American. This is precisely my point. Moving on.
Whatever.
Well, honestly.
Who enjoyed the... I'm so glad we're talking Premier League. Who enjoyed the Man City-Arsenal game? You seem to.
It was about 3-1, I think.
Was it?
Got on my notes, yeah, just in case. But yeah, it was a good game. I mean...
Nieva, Silvio Nieva just came back.
Okay, let it go, please.
Silvio, honestly, I wouldn't accept that. She hasn't stopped talking about a fella called Matthew Barker for the last 2 months, and she doesn't even know Silvio. We don't know Sil.
Lo siento mucho, Silvio. Perdóname. Go ahead. Man City.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. Can we move on, please?
You don't want to talk about Manchester City?
Yeah, it was a good game. I thought Arsenal coming into this game with no Thomas Partey was always going to be the difference, if I'm being totally honest. I want to show you the first goal. It was a big decision to bring Tomiyasu into the right-back position, normally Ben White, and he has the option to play it back, and he just... too short, and it's a wonderful finish from De Bruyne. But if I'm in that full-back position, I'm just kicking it out. There's no point kicking it out. There's no point taking any risks there.
No one can score from Rosette.
Exactly, and you've got the class of someone like Kevin De Bruyne, who, when he plays, Manchester City are a completely different team, and he was on it today, and he was the difference.
Arsenal came back into it. The penalty incident for Arsenal, which I think everybody at the table thought was relatively soft. Is that fair? Even you, Thierry?
Yeah, I thought it was, but then after looking at it, first and foremost, give credit to Eddie Nketiah moving there. But I'm asking myself, why, Ederson, you have to go all the way there? Where would they have scored in that tight angle? You know, you have Kyle Walker with him. Still, where would he have scored? Why do you have to go there? Why do you have to go there? Why do you have to expose yourself to that? And when you look at it, is there contact in nowadays? Yes, it is contact, and people are going to give a penalty for that. So it was a penalty.
Bukayo Saka, sorry, mixed up my vowels.
Do you need a minute?
Yeah, I do. He stepped up for the penalty for us.
His name.
I know. Go ahead, Jamie.
Saka scores, makes it 1-1. Very cool under pressure. Arsenal not had too many penalties this season, and when he got it back to 1-1, I did think we'd see a sort of better performance from Arsenal second half, and we never got that.
So then City then banged in a couple. Jack Grealish, first of all, to make it 2-1, Mike.
Yeah, and I was delighted for Grealish, because coming for the $100 million or $130 million, as we read in America, it takes a little deflection there that helps him out. But he's took a lot of stick coming into this team, and he's got a good run of games under his belt now. He's feeling the confidence, and he took this goal well. He's been performing well, so fair play to him. It means a lot to him, and he deserves it.
Can we go back to that goal? It's just we'll do the third one, which thank you again, Alan. You have to thank this man, Kevin De Bruyne, every single time. But can we go back to the second one, because Gabriel does something that it's crazy for me. No, it is crazy. I'll tell you why. Because he got bailed out first and foremost on the penalty before that. But you lose the ball, right? You lose the ball. It happens. Why are you trying to chase it? Stay in your position. You lost it. Stay in your position. Don't try. Now look at him chasing it all the way. If you go back when he loses it, you lost it. Okay, do not lose your man after. Look at your defense now has to shuffle across. Obviously now the right back has to shuffle across, and you're dead. If he stayed in his position, even though it was a mistake, it wouldn't have been a goal. And that's why sometimes I feel like teams that win titles cannot lose their control in any moment. Man City, and you asked questions at the beginning. I wished, I hoped that Arsenal could win the game. I said 2-1 for Arsenal. But when you look at it, City tonight showed you why they are champion so far, because nobody took that title yet. And I will add something also that I will say. Since those, financial fine or not fine or whatever's going to happen to
accusation,
whatever's going to happen to City,
allegation.
I think that little thing did add something extra into City's mind in that dressing room.
I don't think it's little. I'd call it big.
No, yeah, it is, but it changed. It's
a siege mentality, isn't it?
It changed it because now Pep can say to everybody, they don't want us to win. Let's show them that we're still the champion. And the way they played tonight, they played as champions.
What was the big thing sort of second half, Thierry, in terms of for Arsenal? Because what we talk about Manchester City, we've seen this for 4 or 5 years for Manchester City. Arsenal put themselves in a great position. What would your message to be? You've won titles at Arsenal. What would your message to be if you're in that dressing room, you're in that training ground tomorrow, talking to that young squad of players?
It is. Look, I thought that we're going to go to the cup game. I thought the cup game was very, very significant because it does matter when you play against a team that you're fighting for the title. Now they came to your place and they beat you. Can you now show that you can respond? Because since the beginning of the season, City had to respond to what Arsenal was doing. Can you keep your composure, go at Villa and rectify that straight away at the weekend and show that you can be very difficult. Man United are behind. I don't know if they can actually stay with City and Arsenal. Who knows? But just stay calm. You lost against a great team today that, as we mentioned, Foden comes on, Akanji comes on. Do you have the same bench at Arsenal? I'm not too sure also. But keep your composure. You lost that one. It doesn't mean that everything has to go now in the bin. Keep your composure, go and try to rectify that straight away against Villa and see what you can do. You still have a game in hand.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be tough, though.
I think the big thing for Arsenal is not to, as Thierry said, is panic. The only way I've ever felt Arsenal could win the league, I don't know if you agree, Thierry, is on the fact that Manchester City are going to probably go to at least the semi-finals of the Champions League. You'd expect them to get to the FA Cup final or the semi-final. And just when it gets to sort of late March, the whole of April, there'll be so many games for City, and will Arsenal, even if they were level 2 points behind, could they then still come late?
You know what I was hoping for secretly? Because, I don't see straight when it comes to Arsenal. What I was hoping is that can we get a bigger gap before European competition comes? Even for us, we do have it also. So I wanted a bigger gap because of the depth of our squad before we go into Europe. Because City are used to play this type of games, this type of...
Do you think Arteta would go really strong, especially in these sort of early rounds of knockout stage in Europa League, considering where they are in the Premier League?
You're gonna have to at one point. You're gonna have to play who you have to play. You need also momentum, carry momentum. National teams are coming back, and I've been in that situation also. When you play all those games and you have to go in a national team also when everybody does rest, it takes something out of you. Do we have the depth of Arsenal? We don't have the depth of Man City. That is for sure. That's why.
So do you think they made a mistake not spending more money in January?
But who? You know, it seems like they know that. Well, it doesn't seem like they go about their business a certain way. So I don't think they just buy player for the sake of buying player. Maybe they were targeting one that they couldn't get. I think they go with what they can target. If they can't get what they target, then obviously they went and get Jorginho. I don't think they wanted Jorginho right from the start. It happens. But I still think that we're short, but they don't go and just buy players for the sake of buying players.
Yeah, but Mudryk was the player that they wanted. It was just that they didn't offer him enough money.
Yeah, but that was a money thing, I guess.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, do you think that the board should have backed him? I don't see Arsenal being in this position next season, even if they go and buy 3 or 4 players. I mean, in terms of being 5 or 6 points clear at halfway stage.
That was a lot of money to go and buy Mudryk for that. Was he going to have an impact straight away on that team? They went for Trossard, that knows the league, that have been there for a long time, that can maybe adapt quicker and better. But I'm going back to, I wish we had more points. The Brentford game for me was massive also, you know. But it was always going to happen. It's going to happen during a season where you're not going to win maybe 2 to 3 games. Are we going to react to that? It's not how you fall, it's how you go back on your feet and you stand after that along the way. So hopefully we can do that, but City are used to play that type of role and that type of battle. Sorry, I was like, whoa, was that too long?
She's flustered again.
No, I was 3 times somebody was trying to say something to me, but it was 3 times the other producer spoke to me at the same time and I couldn't hear anybody. So I was flustered, but I thought I was doing it off camera in secret.
No, but you did it straight away. But again, let's not go back. What Mikel Arteta, what Arsenal, what's been happening, let's not, because of what happened tonight, put everything away. Like, obviously, you're battling for the title. If at the end you don't win the title, it will be massive disappointment because you were for a long time there. But would it be a bad season? I don't think so, because it's a long time that I didn't hear the Emirates like that. You know, when I meet people in town, they're like, you know, it's good to talk about are we going to win the league instead of are we going to make the top 4. It's different. So let's not also throw everything away. Keep your composure and try to win at Villa game by game and see what's going to happen.
So embarrassing. You know something? I wouldn't act like I wouldn't be going like that to my dad. I wouldn't do that because it's just disrespectful.
It's such a fibber. When Saka scored the penalty, how was you? When the cameras weren't watching?
I didn't do nothing when Saka. I was just like, I was really full.
I was about to ask where on earth you got that from, because I've never seen it once before. One quick question, how are the hamstrings?
I know.
They're all right, you know,
are they?
I've been working out, haven't I?
moving
So
quick, yeah.
I'm getting my sharpness back.
You said that with a straight face almost as well. Let's get a bit more serious. Here are the post-match thoughts of Pep Guardiola.
Intense, physical battle that was.
Yeah, 2 sides. The first half, Arsenal was much better than us. We were not good enough, intense. Maybe because I changed something and it didn't work. In the second half, we were more aggressive. We were much better, and yeah, we did it.
How important was the introduction of Akanji when he came on? Because that seemed to switch things a little bit.
I would say before Manu Akanji came in, the team was playing much better. For the first minute of the second half, the team was completely different. We pressed more high, more intense. And I think Bernardo jumped really well to Odegaard, and after Ruben jumped perfectly to Odegaard, and they didn't have this extra man in the middle that they create. And Kyle and Manu, Ruben, and of course Nathan, they make an extraordinary, because control Saka, control Martinelli and Ketia is not easy.
Do you think it was a penalty? I was doing the commentary. I didn't understand why it was given at the start. I've seen the replay and everything. You can see, you can see why it was given, but I'm not too sure it was.
No, I don't know.
It didn't matter in the end, did it? Really? You've got this player up front, Pep.
Because we won, it doesn't matter, of course.
Yeah. Up front, you've got Erling Haaland. And people say, look, he just scores goals. I was watching him tonight. All the time, he's at the centre halves, all the time.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Helped us a lot fighting against Saliba. Gabriel's not easy. And sometimes it's a little bit more. Today, we spoke a lot these days about the behaviour of the defender from Arsenal, how the contact, against them you have to use the contact, you have to use the body, otherwise it will be more difficult, and he helped us a lot for the long balls, because when a team play man-to-man and leave just the keeper alone, at the end you have to use this kind of a little bit weapon that we have with Erling right now, and it was a turnover in the second half.
The way that Arsenal fans reacted at the end is almost as if they think it's over. It's half of the season roughly to go. I mean, nothing can be decided tonight.
If they win the game in hand, they are the top of the league. So what they have done is incredible. The important is that still we are there. The important League is coming, Europa League is coming, many games, a tire for the people, the players. But of course, it was important to be here because 6 points behind just in case we'll lose. When one game in hand, 9 points, hypothetical happen. Recover 9 points to Arsenal is not easy. But no, we're close, especially for the fact how we behave really well in the second half with a lot of personality to do it.
Well done.
Thank you.
Interesting insight into the difference in tactics in that second half and to what we saw, Sean.
Yeah, well, I think...
You mentioned it, remember when you said it?
Yeah,
drop back, that's back.
Yeah, and I think Arsenal accepted that. I think Arsenal needed to just stick with the way they were in the first half and be a little bit aggressive, because I think that may have put City on the back foot, but the deeper Arsenal got, it kind of allowed City to be more aggressive, especially in the final third. And that's where all the problems I felt started coming for Arsenal. They was trying to be too cute and clever because neither team liked to play those long balls out the back, so they always try to play out the back. And if they don't get it right on the press, the chances will be created from those mistakes, and that's exactly what happened.
I think that you know, Arsenal and what they've been doing up to this point has been successful. I think even in the first half, though, Sean, you know, Arsenal did play out and beat the press, come out around the sides, and he said they got tighter, they pressed a lot quicker and more aggressively, like you say, and then they forced the mistakes, and then they punished us with the mistakes. And when you're having one shot on target, and then City are going to get better in the second half. They're going to get chances to their top guys, and they will take them. It's a lot of pressure on the defence, and that's why the individual mistakes then come in.
Pep didn't really want to answer the question whether it was a penalty. It didn't matter in the end, but it did at half-time. We had a long debate about this.
Sean didn't think it was a penalty.
I understand why it's given, but I think if they're going to give that, they have to be consistent across the board with that, because there's been a lot of that this season that hasn't been given. So, in general, like you said, it doesn't matter now, but at the time I was raging about it.
Yeah. You know, the thing is again, you know, you're seeing decisions where, you know, Dermot explained it quite well, to be honest, and you accept it. And of course, I'm going to accept it. Your team's getting a penalty, but like if that was against you feel like it's a bit soft. But you know, they're given now. Those are given.
And Saka put it away. And at the time, at 1-1, this was an important moment.
A very important moment because you know, we're talking about having to score to get us back in the game that we were doing okay in. It was playing okay in that, and like I said, by then we had chances. You know, so I didn't think it was a bad thing for us to be 1-1 at the time. What you're hoping for is to come out in the second half and try to get a little bit more of the ball to push them back a little bit more, but we couldn't quite do it in the second half.
OK, well, Mikel Arteta was jumping for joy after Saka's penalty, had them 1-1 at half-time. Let's see how he's feeling at full-time.
How do you sum up the night?
Well, at the end, disappointment because we lost it, and I say we because we lost it. I think it was an incredible battle between two teams. And when we had them, we just give them the goals. Absolutely give them the goals. And against this team, they're going to destroy it. And they did. On the other hand, we had three big chances against this team. We didn't put them away. That was the difference.
Difference at either end, then, in terms of also being clinical. Was that clearly something that could have been better?
You have to be. To beat them, we have to be over our level, you know, because they are such a team, individually, the quality that they have. But we absolutely matched them. I think we had them in big moments. But again, the games are defined in individual moments, especially in the box, and they were better than us.
You got a penalty. Should there have been a second yellow card, do you think, for the goalkeeper, Ederson?
I haven't seen the action again, but we were discussing that.
How do you view your team's performance? At half-time, did you think this is our game to win?
And the second half as well, we have certain periods that we were really imprecise. The restarts of play, we didn't read the situation well enough. We played fast when we didn't have any advantage, and we put ourselves in trouble, which, okay, we can accept that, but still the way we gave the goals away is just at this level.
You did
possible.
Clearly, that you said, though, pre-match, we play the Arsenal way, and do you think maybe then you overplayed in terms of...
In certain areas of the pitch, especially after regaining the ball deep, yes. You don't play that. You have to play a different game, and we didn't read those situations well enough.
What did you make of Manchester City in the second half? Was there an element of their experience in terms of being champions, in terms of being down this road before?
I don't know. I didn't see any difference there. I saw, that they were man-to-man. They went a little bit higher up on the field, but we get out of the press as well in many situations. Good, but we didn't really understood when to play and which kind of ball to play in certain areas, and we got punished.
It's a tough run for your team right now. What's the message to the players and, of course, to the fans? Because the atmosphere tonight, as you know, was exceptional, wasn't it?
That the atmosphere and the performance, I think it was really good. If you take away that you gave Manchester City 3 goals. But for the rest, I don't know what else I can demand to the players to match that level. They are the best team in the world, and we match that level. But after, it's just necessary to do certain things better to beat them.
You talked about belief being key. What now, in terms of belief, do you feel to win this league?
I have more belief because I see a team that is going head-to-head with them.
And now, of course, you can go above them again.
And then,
early kick-off at Aston Villa.
And then you have to go to the next one. And in 3 days, we have another really difficult game. And this league is like that. Every 3 days, you have to be at your best.
But more
players, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And maybe a little bit low on confidence are tough games. Villa will bounce back from their game. Leicester are in good form at the moment. We've seen Everton have a little change of form, obviously lost against Liverpool, but that was the derby. Bournemouth, you're probably hoping that you can go away to at home against Bournemouth, you can beat them. Fulham's going to be tough. And Palace is going to be tough, 2 London derbies, so none of those are easy. But that's what you need. This is what's going to happen at this stage of the season. You're going to get games where those games and those teams want to come to Arsenal and they want to beat them. Arsenal have to now bounce back. We're still in a title race. We're still in it. We win our game in hand, we're back amongst it. So it's not too doom and gloom. It's disappointing, but it's not too doom and gloom. But none of those are really easy.
What about City's run? Obviously, they've got to play Newcastle and Liverpool in the next 6.
I think they're the ones that stand out to me, to be honest with you. I think that it will be hard at the City ground at Forest away to start with, but I think they should win the first 2 games for me personally, especially on the form that they're in right now. I think Newcastle will be a very tough one, the way they defend. Palace always seems to be a tough one for City as well. They always seem to concede a goal. But Liverpool, I think, is the one that may cause us problems, because I feel like the way they played when I watched them their last game, I think it was yesterday,
much better.
They look much better. They look back
Energized.
to the Liverpool that we used to see, the high press, the quick breaks, and we know that is one thing City never really deal with too well, when teams just hit you off the counter-attack from a corner. So I think Liverpool's the biggest threat to me right now.
Yeah, but Sean, I see a couple of... I see with City the way they're playing now, I see them, maybe we know that Palace caused City problems and Liverpool look like they're getting form, but the rest of them, I think City beat them comfortably.
We have to factor in the obsession of the Champions League, which is resuming, and
then
a couple of weeks
absolutely,
as well. And Arsenal don't play in the Europa League till March, and we don't expect many of the Premier League players to.
Yeah, but we know that what the Premier League means to Pep, and of course we know that City are on a quest to try and win the Champions League. But with those games, I can't see City losing any of those games.
Even this weekend, Arsenal play first. Even in a couple of hours, they could be back top of the table before City play. Are we at the stage where even these little things now can?
Well, it does matter, and this is what's important now. It's important for Arsenal to win that game, so as they can say, listen, we're not going away. It's vitally important that they do that, because they've got to bounce back from it. They've done brilliantly up to this point. You don't want it to all fall away. A lot of hard work, good work's gone into this part of the season, and this is the testing part of the season. So we need them to answer back what's going on, win the game in hand, and then say, right, let's see what you got now.
And this is where I think now the experience of them going the full yard of a title race comes into play, is that if Arsenal win, they've been there before. So they will just get on with that game as if that didn't happen. They know now that all they need to do is just do their job. They don't think about anybody else. And that's what I think City's always been good at, whether they're either chasing or on top of the pack. They basically just don't care about nobody else. They just know as long as they keep winning, it's up to everybody else. And that's where I think they'll benefit.
I was just going to say, when we won the league, I know you won it as well, but I was in a much better frame of mind than you.
But you know what? I'm going to let you can have that one because it's not been a good day for you.
Are you confident there's enough, 1 point from 9, there's enough in that to go to Villa and bounce back straight away?
Yeah, absolutely do. Yeah, because and the reason why you have to think that as well, Steve, is because I think they have to. They have to, somewhere along the line, they've got to win a game again, because it's been a few games now, they've not won a game. They need to win a game again, get their confidence going, get Eddie going, maybe nick a couple of goals. I know that Jesus is not a million miles away now, so you're hoping that he'll be back soon, maybe. But what's got to happen is we need some form of injection of something somewhere to bring confidence back into that team.
One final question. Has he been humble enough in victory for your
He's been really good. I'm really proud of the way he's acted. It makes me proud of him.
It's been fun. The blockbuster didn't disappoint. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, what a brilliant interview that, where you could see just how much it meant to him on a personal and team level there.
I think going to the Emirates, some people say they're in a bad spell, but they've always been a massive club, and any time you can beat Arsenal at home, I feel has always been an achievement. It's never been easy to go there, and it certainly isn't going to be any easier now that the way when they haven't lost there in like 13 games is a massive, not only statement, but a confidence booster for City. And that's why I said before the show, if they do beat them, then you can see them going on a massive run because of the type of game and the players they played against today.
Yeah, I think that when you look at City and it's quite ominous, him saying things like, it's time for them to go on a run, win back-to-back games, because they know that this is the stage of the season where you need to start doing that. Because if you've got teams like Arsenal going to places like Everton, and then you play them and then you beat them, and then what happens is that they want the next game to come as soon as they can, so as they can win that game again and put even more pressure on Arsenal. Hopefully Arsenal, maybe, you never know, maybe there's too much pressure on that for them. Maybe people won't be expecting so much in respect of them being at the top. So what you're hoping, they've lost 2 out of the last 3 now, and they've got to keep it going, because this is a good season they're having up to this point. They dealt with them all right up to this point, but now they're going to have to just start to try to get themselves together to start putting some wins together.
To both boxes there, you can see in terms of the shots. Particularly, City had 6 on target in April 2012, and they lost courtesy of a Mikel Arteta winning goal back in 2012. But as you said to us earlier on, Wright, it doesn't matter about the possession if you've only got 1 shot on target.
Well, that's what, like Martin Odegaard alluded to there, it's in the boxes. You look in there, 1 shot on target. When you're playing against City, you know that they're going to have some chances, so you're going to have to create more chances than that. And then what happens is it ends up turning into the defence being put under pressure. They couldn't sustain the pressure they was put under, and then individual mistakes. You can't do anything. You can't legislate for individual mistakes. But then I sound like a broken record, but you have to take the chances. You have to at least hit the target. You have to work the goalkeeper.
How good were these chances at Premier League level?
Very good chances. I think when you look at this one from this cross, this is a fantastic cross. What comes in, and you have to hit the target with that. This is fantastic. This is the one what you're thinking. Last night you're thinking, if I could just get one of those chances. He's obviously taken his eye off the ball that's come off his shoulder, and that's where you have to be looking at that. You have to be heading that right off the meat of your forehead. That one there. You could see it coming. It's looping. You've got to step back so you're not going towards it. I think he's got to take that opportunity to shoot. He doesn't take that opportunity to shoot there. Saka, and again, you have to give City credit because they get the bodies back in there. And then the same with Xhaka. This is his good foot. Look, he's on his good foot. You've got to take the shot. We saw him score that goal against Man United from further out of the box, and so we're not taking the opportunities to shoot. That is another magnificent chance. So, I think there's one as well what came across to Eddie where he just couldn't quite get in front of the defender. He made a run, and on another night, like Martin Odegaard said there, you know, you can't really blame one person in particular, but it does come down to, on another day, he would have had a hat-trick, you know, Eddie Nketiah. So you're hoping that it doesn't demoralise him too much and he gets himself ready, because Villa's next and we need goals.
I have to agree, especially the last chance that we just saw there. Personally, I don't think he realises how much time he has. And I've been in a situation before. I'm not a natural striker, so what he's done is something that I would have done personally. But I feel like
close your eyes and header it?
Yeah, possibly.
How many times did I tell you to keep your eyes open when you're headering the ball?
That's why I wasn't a striker.
Okay.
Right? But yeah, I think he could have even.
Did he not listen, Dad?
Of course he didn't listen. He
Just check.
didn't think he'd have to header it as much as well because he's so small. But at the same time, you could see Eddie look like he closed his eyes there. He would close his eyes some of the times. I remember.
No, I think I would have tried to take that down. I think.
That's coming too fast.
No, I
don't.
I'm not like. I feel like that he doesn't realise how much time he's got. If he's controlled it, it's fine. He has time to bring that.
Which
down.
one are you talking about?
The last one that comes in. He tries to header it.
Yeah.
I think if there's possibilities that he could have taken it down. I'm not saying he should, but if he's not comfortable enough to go with the header first time,
Sean, he's 6 yards out as a striker. You can't take that down. Because because like the first thing that's going to happen, the ball's coming across at such pace that I don't know how you're going to stop it so as you can get it down, so as you can finish it. You head that in. He's 6 yards out, bro.
I don't know. I mean, you know what? I'm with him, but I've got to be on his side.
How many Premier League goals did Sean score with his head?
Two. This is what I'm saying, two.
One was against Robert.
One.
At Upton Park.
And he brought you up at this time of night not to argue.
It was a great header.
Yeah, what a brilliant interview that was. You could see just how much it meant to him on a personal and team level there.
I think going to the Emirates, some people say they're in a bad spell, but they've always been a massive club, and any time you can beat Arsenal at home, I feel has always been an achievement. It's never been easy to go there, and it certainly isn't going to be any easier now that the way when they haven't lost there in like 13 games is a massive, not only statement, but a confidence booster for City. And that's why I said before the show, if they do beat them, then you can see them going on a massive run because of the type of game and the players they played against today.
Yeah, I think that when you look at City and it's quite ominous, him saying things like, it's time for them to go on a run, win back-to-back games, because they know that this is the stage of the season where you need to start doing that. Because if you've got teams like Arsenal going to places like Everton, and then you play them and then you beat them, and then what happens is that they want the next game to come as soon as they can, so as they can win that game again and then put even more pressure on Arsenal. Hopefully Arsenal, maybe, you never know, maybe there's too much pressure on that for them. Maybe people won't be expecting so much in respect of them being at the top. So what you're hoping, they've lost 2 out of the last 3 now, and they've got to keep it going, because this is a good season they're having up to this point. They dealt with them all right up to this point, but now they're going to have to just start to try to get themselves together to start putting some wins together.
To both boxes there, you can see in terms of the shots. Particularly, City had 6 on target in April 2012, and they lost courtesy of a Mikel Arteta winning goal back in 2012. But as you said to us earlier on, Wright, it doesn't matter about the possession if you've only got 1 shot on target.
Well, that's what, like Martin Odegaard alluded to there, it's in the boxes. You're looking there, 1 shot on target. When you're playing against City, you know that they're going to have some chances, so you're going to have to create more chances than that. And then what happens is it ends up turning into the defence being put under pressure. They couldn't sustain the pressure they was put under, and then individual mistakes. You can't do anything. You can't legislate for individual mistakes. But then I sound like a broken record, but you have to take the chances. You have to at least hit the target. You have to work the goalkeeper.
How good were these chances at Premier League level?
Very good chances. I think when you look at this one from this cross, this is a fantastic cross. What comes in, and you have to hit the target with that. This is fantastic. This is the one what you're thinking. Last night you're thinking, if I could just get one of those chances. He's obviously taken his eye off the ball that's come off his shoulder, and that's where you have to be looking at that properly. You have to be heading that right off the meat of your forehead. That one there, you could see it coming, it's looping. You've got to step back so as you're not going towards it. I think he's got to take that opportunity to shoot. He doesn't take that opportunity to shoot there. Saka, and again, you have to give City credit because they get the bodies back in there. And then the same with this with Xhaka. This is his good foot. Look, he's on his good foot. You've got to take the shot. We saw him score that goal against Man United from further out of the box, and so we're not taking the opportunities to shoot. That is another magnificent chance. So, you know, I think there's one as well what came across to Eddie where he just couldn't quite get in front of the defender. He made a run, and on another night, like Martin Ødegaard said there, you know, you can't really blame one person in particular, but it does come down to, on another day, he would have had a hat-trick, you know, Eddie Nketiah. So you're hoping that it doesn't demoralise him too much and he gets himself ready, because Villa's next and we need goals.
I have to agree, especially the last chance that we just saw there. Personally, I don't think he realises how much time he has. And I've been in a situation before. I'm not a natural striker, so what he's done is something that I would have done personally. But I feel like
close your eyes and header it?
Yeah, possibly.
How many times did I tell you to keep your eyes open when you're headering the ball?
That's why I wasn't a striker.
Okay.
Right? But yeah, I think he could have even.
Did he not listen, Dad?
Of course he didn't listen.
Just
he didn't think he'd have to header it as much as well because he's so small. But at the same time, you could see Eddie look like he closed his eyes there. He would close his eyes some of the times. I remember.
No, I think I would have tried to take that down. I think.
That's coming too fast.
No, I don't. I'm not like. I feel like that he doesn't realise how much time he's got. If he's controlled it, it's fine. He has time to bring that.
Which one are you talking about?
The last one that comes in. He tries to header it.
Yeah.
I think if there's possibilities that he could have taken it down. I'm not saying he should, but if he's not comfortable enough to go with the header first time,
Sean, he's 6
6
yards out as a striker. You can't take that down. Because because like the first thing that's going to happen, the ball's coming across at such pace that I don't know how you're going to stop it so as you can get it down, so as you can finish it. You head that in. He's 6 yards out, bro.
I don't know. I mean, you know what? I'm with him, but I've got to be on his side.
How many Premier League goals did Sean score with his head?
This is what I'm saying, two.
One was against Robert.
One.
At Upton Park.
And he brought you up at this time of night not to argue.
It was a great header.
You're going off subject.
Header.
Don't argue with your parents at this
Don't
time
argue.
of night.
He's arguing.
Why are you two bullying me?
I'm not bullying you.
No, I have to be the neutral tonight. Sorry to interrupt. We're going back to the Emirates. Belvers, help me out here. Bakary Sagna.
You've only come to us to try and diffuse that family row, haven't you?
Absolutely.
Bakary, how much fun was that out here tonight? And Martin Ødegaard talked about the atmosphere. You played in some wonderful occasions here, but this crowd, this stadium, it's had a bit of stick for its atmosphere in the past as well. How good was it tonight?
Well, we can clearly see there's a full connection between the fans and the players, and I think the players realize the support they get from the fans, and it's really important, especially in difficult moments. And tonight was a difficult moment. I believe there is some positive, but as Martin Ødegaard said, games are playing on details. Defensively, I believe Arsenal took too many risks, trying to play out from the back, being under pressure, and they got punished when they face this type of players with such quality and clinical in front of the goal. They put themselves into trouble, and this is probably what happened. You have to think as a defender when you're a defender. It's nice to play out from the back, but you have priorities, and tonight they were punished.
The manager has always backed his players, encouraged them to play out from the back, but they'll be kicking themselves in there about the first and second goals, will they?
Of course. Look, they nearly got punished when Zinchenko lost the ball in the box. That was a warning, and unfortunately they tried to play. They have a quality, they have the confidence, but sometimes you need to try and play in a channel when you're under pressure, and especially when you have Nketiah who can run, make the run and put City into trouble.
Tell me about City. Kevin De Bruyne has had a reasonably quiet time for what we're used to from him. How good was he tonight for the goal and assist?
Well, it's good for him to be back on a score sheet. I think it was quite a long time since he scored, and we know the quality he is, and you know how much is important for the squad. You know how much he can be decisive, and he scored and he made an assist. So it's nice to see him back at his good level, not his best level because we've seen better from him, but it's already nice to see the impact he's having on City game.
We had a chat at half-time. You weren't convinced it was a penalty for Saka to score, were you?
No, you know, it's quite difficult. I'm against the VAR for a few reasons, but I still believe we should have a player behind the VAR because there is emotion, and being on the pitch, we have the chance to be able to feel everything, and seeing the replay in slow motions change I think the outcome of the action. So to me, it was not a penalty. You see the keeper trying to stop, and Eddie come and connect to him. But fortunately for Arsenal, they managed to score and come back to 1-1.
Let me ask you another thing that it's so obvious being here in the stadium. Your old mate Mikel Arteta, he never stops on the touchline, does he? He nearly tackled Jack Grealish. He did tackle Kevin De Bruyne. Does he... Bakary, thanks for your company here this evening. Steve, I can tell you he was a very cool, calm and collected right-back. Not quite so cool and calm when he sat there watching. He's jumping up and down. Not quite as much as Mikel Arteta, but still.
Best bit of all of that from your team today?
Well, we were happy doing our job, and the most, you know, always we talk about that, how privileged we are doing a job like we can make during 92 minutes happy our people. So better than that cannot be possible.
We let the fans down, we let ourselves down, and so I'm hugely disappointed. But we have to live with it, and we have to learn from it. We were not front foot in the defense organization. We were not brave on the ball, and there were spaces to play, but we didn't find the spare man, or we were not brave enough to play under pressure way. We get undisciplined in following rules and principles, and you get hammered, and that's happened today.
3 hat-tricks in 3 home games. That is some achievement. Have you ever been close to that before?
No, I don't think so. I never did that before, and it's amazing. I felt it a couple of days before the game that something special is going to happen, and we saw today some special things happened, and it was nice.
How good can Erling Haaland be? I mean, he can't be at the peak yet, is he?
Well, the limit he will decide. You have in many clubs, the egos, and it's completely the opposite. One of the reasons why he settles so quick is because he has a good mates playing alongside to him, and when that's happened, make the life easier.
Well, life looked very easy for them today, didn't it? I mean, they were sensational, all of them. You could probably do analysis on every single City player. We'll talk about Haaland in a moment. You're going to look at the 2 wide players first of all.
Yeah, I think for me, Grealish set the tempo. Obviously, Foden got his hat-trick, and we're all going to talk about Haaland, but I think Grealish has come under a lot of pressure, and we're going to see on the VT now that he's the guy who actually set the tempo. He got that yellow card after 1 minute, which we're not seeing there. But at the start of the game, obviously United are sitting back in, but Foden and Grealish come in kind of like 2-10s, as you can see in this position now. And they're just working it, just making United run around, chase the ball. But here is where they're occupying great space here, which makes Eriksen come across, that Varane doesn't know whether to go or not, first goal. And this all came just by them coming inside. As soon as they got the goal, went back to what they know, high and wide. Grealish coming in, looking like the Grealish from Aston Villa, who spoke about being a bit more direct, getting goals, getting assists, and that's what we like to see Jack doing. But look here, Foden's position here is perfect. It's making the left back look over right shoulder, left shoulder, doesn't know where he is. As this comes in, look, he's got no idea where he is, and another day could have went in the top corner, but they were sensational, and I think these 2 really drove the game. Kevin De Bruyne was a joke as well, as he always is. But this is what I want to see more of Jack doing. Getting at him, could have easily went down, but he said he wants to get more goals, more assists into his game. And I think this is a key one as well. For any young player that's watching, look at the desire. 80 metres Phil Foden covers up here. And just watch this. Gets up to speed and just coasts and stays 20 miles an hour. Like, some people's cars can't do that. You know what I mean? As consistently as that. He's there, and the desire to go and score is world class. And again, finally up on Jack, getting into this position. Look how many Man United players are there. And I know Jermaine's going to go to it, but again, driving, forward passes, Haaland do the same, forward pass, 2 touch, thank you very much. And they were unbelievable.
And for Grealish in particular, actually, a lot of criticism at City driven at players and taking them on, that he gets it and maybe cuts inside or then just lays it off.
Being a bit safe.
But that was, as you say, the Grealish of old. Yeah,
that's what we want to see. I think not only for Man City, but for England as well. If we get those 2 playing at their peak and powers, it's only going to be good for the national team. So it's great to see, and I'm glad that Jack's doing well. £100 million price tag is a difficult thing to live up to, and you know, he started to feel his boots.
Look, there are Haaland stats coming out. We could do a whole show on just Erling Haaland stats after that. The fastest player to 3 Premier League hat-tricks by 40 appearances. I mean, you know, that's how quickly he's done it. Michael Owen second on 48. He had more touches as well for Manchester City today than he's had in any other game. So there were a couple of assists for Foden, which maybe shows what Pep Guardiola's trying to do with it.
Yeah, his game's going to evolve. There's no doubt about that. He's playing under the best coach in Europe. It's as simple as that, and with some of the best players in the world. And you know, doing that day in, day out, and the different things that are going to be asked of him, and the different ways he's going to work out how to find space. We're just scratching the surface with this player, and that is the scary thing. I mean. We could do clips this week, next week, whatever week, but, you know, we picked Grealish and Foden this week because we just felt that from an attacking point of view, you know, it was 2 special performances, as it could have been for any City player.
Give me a fellow striker's appreciation of him.
Oh, for me, R9, Thierry, him.
Really?
Yeah, he's that good. For me, he can come short, he can link in behind, jump, right foot, left foot, and he loves scoring. He's always in that 6-yard box. Special player. We should be grateful that we're watching it.
Yeah, agreed.
Right, on to the latest calamitous shambles.
Say that again.
Said on to the latest calamitous shambles.
Okay, right, yeah, sorry, yeah.
Or shambolic calamity, if you wanted the other way around.
Look, it was not pretty viewing for any United fan or anybody that was involved with the football club. I think with and without the ball, it was just shocking to see at times. I don't know whether the kind of pressing height, Rashford has to be having more of an impression on Nathan Ake there. For him to just drift out, get his head up, switch a ball, and all of a sudden Malacia has now got to deal with a 2v1 situation where we've seen City score from that exact scenario time and time again, is not good enough. You're supposed to be defending from the front and setting the tone. The goal that goes in, again, I don't see any leaders in there. You know, Phil Foden finds himself in a situation where he's surrounded by 6 United players. Not one of them got the initiative to say, I'll take him. Eriksen's the man who should be doing it. He's right next to him. But what about, where's Varane pointing, saying we've got a problem here? Pick him up, Eriksen, or having a look around and dictating what's supposed to be happening around him. He's just drifted in, Foden, and it's an unbelievable finish. Now, Ten Hag says, not brave on the ball, people hiding. We've got 5 Man City players around McTominay, who wants the ball here. He's under pressure from Bernardo Silva. Which one of these United players that are hiding behind City are going to go, why don't Varane come into there? If Kyle Walker was with City, he would have drifted into there and helped out his teammate, not helping each other out. It's poor from McTominay as well as that, and then end up putting themselves under pressure. This is one of the worst clips I've seen all day, this, for me. You know, Marcus Rashford, just turn. You're one of the quickest players in the league. Turn and do what you was born to do, which is attack. And he doesn't do that, no confidence, loses the ball. Now, this kind of scenario for United was a good one. You've got City kind of pinned in. All you'll want to hear right now is don't let them out. Dalot lets them down. Why has he not gone in there? Everything that I'm showing you here, it's like, it's a big concern as to kind of what they're working on. Dalot lets you down at one end. Get on the cover at the other end as well, because although it's an incredible ball, you could have done something. You could put your body in, help out Varane. Those partnerships are not there from what I'm seeing. Now, we've got a situation here where Akanji picks up the ball in his own 18-yard box, right? Now, as he drives out, you've got 6 United players. That is just ridiculous. He just ghosts by 6 United players, and with one pass from his 18-yard box, again, a fullback is having to deal with a 2v1 situation. Now, Dalot does really well on that occasion and blocks the pass, but it wasn't sustainable. You can't keep up that level against Manchester City. You've got the best player in the league in acres of space. You've got a player in Gomez who came on who was absolutely brilliant, I thought, with a willingness, a desire to run and get forward, puts it on a plate for an absolute goal-scoring machine. There's a lot of really concerning signs. I watched a team today who didn't look like they knew what they were doing, at both ends of the pitch, with or without the ball. And who to blame with that? Whether it's the manager, the players, it's all one for me.
I mean, for all that the players, and you pointed out, and for all, you know, they didn't track back and they weren't showing that energy. Is there an element of questioning Ten Hag as well? Some of the gaps between the different areas were huge. And Casemiro was on the bench.
That's one of the most ridiculous things I've seen this week, to be honest with you. I'm thinking you've brought a Champions League winner who is known for dictating that area of the pitch, and is sat on the bench watching that today. If there was ever a game for him to be starting, it was this one today. So the manager has to take some responsibility for that performance today.
I think as well, if you are Casemiro, you know, Scott McTominay's doing well, his game, Fred's game, you've got to be going, hold on, I was playing the Champions League final a few months ago and I can't get into this team. His job at Real Madrid was win it back, give it to his better players. You've got Eriksen, you've got Fernandes. That's the role he's been brought in to do. Go and do it. But I think that there's gaps, as you spoke about. I think it goes back to what Jermaine said, though, leadership. Who's doing that? Because you don't need a manager to tell you that.
Yeah.
Get it. Once they get through, we saw it with Spurs the other day, get back in, be low block, make it hard to beat. That wasn't there, and unfortunately, they paid the price for it.
And on those scary Erling Haaland numbers, that is 100 club appearances, 103 goals in that time, 15 career hat-tricks, first player ever to score 3 consecutive home Premier League hat-tricks, and he is the quickest of 3 Premier League hat-tricks. He's beaten Michael's record by 40 games. And today, again, 40. We saw his all-round game at the very top once again.
Yeah, we did. I thought, especially early on in the game, there was a large amount of this first half where he wasn't really, I wouldn't say doing much, but he wasn't
touching the ball.
Yeah, he wasn't involved that much, but there was a few times he did come short and did get the ball and get involved, which surprised me a little bit. And then he just kind of just built into the game, and as he does, he's just in the areas where he needs to be to score goals, and his movement and his hunger and desire to get on the end of things that do come in the box in between those 2 posts is just frightening.
You saw his facial expression there. Pep Guardiola's just used a great expression. He always looks starving, he said, for goals.
That's what you want from your striker, especially when he's putting them away like that. It's the same when Mo was playing. He always looked like, just get me the ball there, put it in behind, I want to run on it, and I want to put it in the back of the net. And I think he's bringing that little edge to City.
It's very selfish, and you know,
aren't you?
You do have to be that type, and it's not nice to sort of admit and say, but it is. You've got to be so hungry for goals, because if you're not, then you just don't score them simply, and you're a player that doesn't reach the heights. So these top strikers, like Haaland, they might smile off the pitch, but when they cross that white line, they turn into absolute monsters. Selfish, arrogant, all these things that are not words that I'm, Greedy, yeah, go on, I'm sure you can keep calling...
You say selfish, yeah.
Yeah, I said selfish. But they're all words that you never want to be called off the pitch, but on the pitch, fine, call me what you want.
I think those 6 names on that list would all be in that category, wouldn't they? Van Nistelrooy, Torres, Cole, Suarez.
It's the only way to be, and it's not something you're proud of, because
they live for scoring goals, don't they? Yeah.
But that's the thing. They
don't care about
when we're talking, we're having a laugh off camera, or you're in another dressing room and you finish your career. You're actually the butt of most of the jokes, because you weren't not the team player, but you're a little bit different because you were so selfish, and everybody else jokes with you. Oh yeah, if you scored a hat trick but you lost 4-3, then you would have been happy, though, type of thing. And
that's true, though.
And it is.
I've got first-hand experience. The thing. I tell that Ruud van Nistelrooy story with Paul all the time.
Yeah. They are the most important parts of a team, though.
Yeah. But this
scoring goals, the hardest
thing to do. When you beat Newcastle 6-0, and Van Nistelrooy didn't score, and he stormed out like you'd lost 6-0 because he hadn't scored.
Devastated. If we got beat 5-1 and he scored the one, he'd be delighted. I swear to God. That's all he was bothered about. Scoring goals. He lived for scoring goals. And they're all the same. They only think about themselves. Scoring goals. It's not the team won the game. I'll thanks for that.
Just a quick question. Has he changed in any way?
What do you think?
Off the pitch, I don't really care about myself. On the pitch, it's fair comment.
From a United point of view today, did they help themselves, particularly in the wide areas at times, the way they started the game?
Not really, but I think we all know that Pep Guardiola attacks those wide areas. I mean, I was reading a bit about both teams before the game, and Manchester City are actually the team in attack that have the widest players constantly throughout this season so far. Manchester United are actually the 18th, so they play very, very narrow as an attack. But when you watch Manchester City, they've always got the players wide, and then they always double up. And we saw loads of occasions, especially in the first half, where it was 2v1 in those areas. It started up right at the start of the game, this is. And how Manchester United keep this out of their net is unbelievable. Brilliant defending. But again, we see them doubling up in these areas. Even if it's a wide midfield, if it's a midfielder like De Bruyne, he'll come over and overload. And it's a common theme with Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, it's especially with this run that Kevin's done. I think he does it time and time again, and it's hard to pick up because it leaves a fullback in a quite a vulnerable position to make a decision. Does he stay in tight or does he go wide? And he has to stay inside, because if he doesn't, then De Bruyne just runs in that area anyway. And they're just always available, running off the back of people. And like Scholesy said, I kind of felt sorry for Eriksen in this, because he can't pick up those sort of runs. He wasn't built to do that.
No, he wasn't. And you know, I remember when wingers used to help fullbacks. These fullbacks get exposed there, and they're probably two United's probably weaker players defensively, and that's why he'll target that area. So if Sancho, for instance, on the left-hand side doesn't come back and help Malacia, it's then down to Eriksen, who doesn't want to do that. The last thing he wants to do is vacate the middle of the pitch. But because the wingers don't come back, or they're not told to come back, he just exposes everything, because he's got to sprint out to try and look after De Bruyne and the wide player.
He's strong on the lack of belief, lack of discipline there today.
I can see the lack of discipline one, because I think a lot of goals could have been avoided. A lot of mistakes were made up the pitch, really, and City broken and created chances and scored goals. Look, they're a fantastic team. The lack of belief, I don't really see the lack of belief, because it's difficult to get the ball, so it's hard to see if there was a lack of belief and can they keep the ball against such a great team. They hardly ever see the ball in ours. And then them games, 4 games you talk about, the Liverpool game, the Arsenal game, he said there was a belief in the way they played, but there wasn't really. There was fight and there was spirit, which you mentioned there at the end. There wasn't really that today, which was disappointing in a big Manchester derby.
And you felt the third goal that Erling Haaland scored was a real example of United today.
Well, I thought a lot of the goals were avoidable. Sancho made a mistake for the first one, but if you watch Darlow, this is almost like they're practicing through the week, they're doing 11v11 through the week. When you lose the ball, go back to your position. Just go back to your position. Sometimes you've got to ignore that. You've got to see what's happening on the pitch and do something for yourself. So, can you go back there? Sorry, if you could just move that back for me. If you see him, he jogs back into a position where there's nobody there. Keep going, sorry. Right now, if you stop there, he could affect the ball by going to Jack Grealish. He doesn't do that. Go on, you can carry on now. He carries on jogging now. He could affect the ball there, just jogs past him. Jogs past him into space. He could have actually gone out to Bernardo Silva, I think it is. Anthony could have done something about it. Again, he's just walking. He allows the ball to go there. It brings McTominay out to, I think it's Bernardo Silva, and then it leaves the middle of the pitch wide open. But even then, after Darlow not going out to the wide player, he could have gone into Grealish. He does nothing, absolutely nothing. He's just jogged into his position and still does nothing. And it leaves Eriksen absolutely stranded. We said he doesn't play the position that well anyway. He doesn't know what to do. Do a drop, do a go against him, ends up doing nothing. And we all know the quality De Bruyne has to Haaland, and he's left in no man's land.
It's the risk, isn't it, about playing a high press. I mean, the easy thing is to, when you lose the ball, all run back and just have a team block on the, wherever it might be, but normally a deep team block. If you're going to do that, if you're going to press high, which is what I think Manchester United should do, they're quality enough to do it, then everybody's got to do their job, because one mistake like that, if one player runs into a poor position and they've got one extra body, they're so good they'll pick you apart, and all of a sudden you've got 5 players that are trying to press out of the game, and you are dead against Manchester City. So, it's one or the other. What do you do? And they've sort of tried to do it half-heartedly. One player's let the whole thing down, and then all of a sudden, it's another goal.
OK, well, Manchester United used substitutes today. Anthony Martial, of course, scored a penalty. But one man who didn't come on was Cristiano Ronaldo. And Erik ten Hag was asked why that was after the game.
I wouldn't bring him in because we are 4-0 down. Out of respect for Cristiano, for his big career. And the other thing, there was then the advantage. I could bring Anthony Martial. He needs the minutes. But I don't want to point it out like that.
If you were Cristiano Ronaldo, would you accept that out of respect?
Fuming. Absolutely fuming. I think if, saying out of respect, not bring him onto the football pitch because of the stature of the man and the result that was going on. No way. That you can see in his face, he's determined to get on the pitch and try and affect the game. Somehow, look, it's impossible. They're in an impossible situation. But if you ask him, if the manager goes to him, said, do you want to stay here or go out onto that football pitch, he would be desperate to get on that football pitch. Absolutely desperate.
Yeah, he's not contributed to them being 4-0 down at half-time, has he? So, he sat there probably thinking, if I was on the pitch, I could have done this and this and this. And certainly not. I mean, that's what you're paid for, to play football. Doesn't matter whether you're 4-0 up, 4-0 down, whatever it might be. Then, get me on and let me show the world what I can do. If that's what he genuinely believes, then fair enough. It's a very kind thing to think. I'm not going to do this.
You wouldn't accept that,
But
would you?
I don't think if that's the case,
No
I'm not
player
sure he
should.
knows what an elite player thinks and how they're tuned.
Exactly. Even at half time, he's thinking, we're 4-0 down. We've not had a shot. Get me on that pitch. And then he sees Martial come on. Martial, who comes on, who hasn't played, he's been injured, he's played half a game. He'd be going off his nut, honestly, to try and play a game.
Yeah, I would have said the same. I think that was the kicker for him when Martial comes on and he's sitting there. I think the camera went onto his face and you could just see the anger and the frustration and rage within him that he got on before me, basically. So I'm surprised he didn't get on.
Because the thing is with Cristiano Ronaldo, we know his age, but 699 career goals, whether he's in the stands, he's on the bench, he comes on, he comes off, it's a story, isn't it? It's a talking point. That's why Ten Hag's getting asked about not bringing him on today when they needed a goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't get me wrong, he's not what he was, but he's still got a lot to offer. He's still good enough to walk into this team. He must just be sat there thinking, Martial getting on ahead, he's better than me. Or half of the other players that have started, he's better. Even if I'm going, getting a little bit older and a little bit slower, I'll still score twice as. I can put a blindfold on and still score more than these lot put together.
He'll think he can start the game.
Absolutely.
Of course
and
he
he
will.
should. And he should think
Yeah,
that.
them superstars, they have belief, never ever think they should be sat on a bench. Ever. However they've played in the game before, they don't care. I should be playing, I should be out on that pitch. I'm Cristiano Ronaldo, I will score us goals. But he'll be thinking about all game, and then he watches that at half time, that first half, and don't get on again, and brings Martial on. Red rag to a bull.
According to information from the Daily Star newspaper in England, Manchester City is interested in signing the Argentine world champion in the next transfer window. The club is targeting the most important midfielder in Argentina. Check this article until the end to find out who this player is. But first, I ask you to subscribe to our channel and leave a like. The player's name is one of those that is heating up the transfer market in the middle of the year. Other clubs in England, such as Liverpool, Chelsea, and Arsenal, are also interested in him. The player is believed to be worth £70 million. McAllister, who is 24 years old, is seen as a good name due to his age and his participation in the World Cup, where he played in all 7 matches for Argentina. Do you like the player's football? Leave your comment below about the possibility of buying him. But before leaving the video, please subscribe to our channel and leave a like. It helps our channel grow a lot. Thank you all so much.